When Pickle was introduced to the Baki world, he forced all these godly martial artists to lock in like never before. This includes the ogre himself. Pickle's existence pretty much made everyone get stronger and still came out on top with a next level performance. Following that, he faced some issues throughout the Baki series, being humbled by Baki, scared of Yuichiro, trying to fight Masashi Miyamoto, who was a Yujiro level monster and got absolutely destroyed, and now having round 3 against the new and improved Jack Hanma in Baki Rahen, which, to keep it short, is not going well for Pickle. However, right before the beginning of this fight, we saw Pickle speak for the first time ever, which was absolutely wild, and the Dino Boy still has some of the most impressive showings in the entire 30 years of Baki's manga. Alongside that, without a doubt, he will remain as a top tier in this series. Therefore, to remind all of you of this aspect, I have my reaction to Ivan the Unstoppable's How Strong is Pickle video, a power scaling based channel that started to upload some goated Baki content. Make sure to check out the channel alongside the original video, link in the description, and of course subscribe here on Mysterious Chad if you enjoy Baki content. But let's watch his Pickle one, see what he says about the goated
We can
Dino
interpret
Boy.
it better, but imagine if we were to take this feat seriously, of him being able to withstand the impact of a meteor head on that wiped out the dinosaurs from close range. If he was really if he's that freaking durable, everybody in the verse is done. But yeah, we don't really know how he survived based on what they said. This could be their just theory. Yeah, it's really up in the air. How durable would somebody need to be close range to an impact that wiped out all the dinosaurs though? But that's none of my business.
He's a being that's so powerful he can smile off supersonic speed punches and attacks at full power because he's the strongest from the Jurassic period. What if
So the issue of using like direct statements from that arc in the manga is a lot of it is wild fang translations, but we saw him do that, so it doesn't really matter based on like what the random characters say.
Human that already has potential to become superhuman with enough training, what would it be like if a human had to survive during the time of the dinosaurs? Humans would have to adapt to evolve to even be able to survive fighting such a savage beast with no technology. Well, your answer is this guy named Pickle, a prehistoric human.
I thought it was on
that's
2 times
ridiculously
speed.
strong just because of the
I was
environment he
talking
grew up
fast
in.
for a second.
Let's talk about him. He's a being that lived so far back in the day. When his body is analyzed, he looks like a mutated human compared to others. Like he had literal extra thickness. Narrated compared his neck with a bull.
Look at Pickle's skeletal structure. Like, yeah, it's dense.
I mean, this is just the image of how tall and big he's gotten as time went by, evolving during a different time.
You could call this animal instincts, but he's not even technically a trained fighter, really technically a technical fighter. I mean, he grew up in a time where all that stuff didn't really matter.
Yeah, this was a very wild scene where he somehow just used Aikido on Baki when they interacted, and technically in the final exchange with Baki during the arc, he did a similar thing in the sense that he used a technique. Unfortunately, since that in the Musashi arc, we haven't seen any evolution or like re-showings of this. Likewise in the Jack rematch so far. Hopefully that occurs, but not yet.
It was all about survival. He mastered the basics of recent arts like Aikido without knowing it. This could be like instinct.
I believe that claim was also in the anime, so it is indeed canon.
Animal-like instinct.
Somehow, some way, just like the Hanma family, you know how, Baki has.
And to expand on that, that is another thing where people like to say he's connected to the Hanma family because his, insane mastery and potential of like basic stuff like that just out of nowhere.
Like his base form, and just like his dad, he has like the demon back transformation. This is something that's unique only to the Hanmas. Well, Pickle is one of those rare beings that technically has his own transformation to amp his physicals up too. He got his base form, and then he got like his ultimate form where his hair kind of sticks up.
Yeah, we don't have a full explanation in the series of what the Pickle transformation is, but his hair does rise up similar to Baki and Yujiro when they enter their demon back state, or also when Yujiro is enraged.
You got like a little aura the way the anime animates it. Hair kind of sticks up, like a literal transformation. Like he can just do this and release all limiters, full power. Like it's literally a transformation because a scar that's not from this era shows up. So his body literally transformed. Like even when he's bleeding, his ultimate form can slow the bleeding down.
Hey, true that. A factor that I hope comes into play in the Jack rematch.
His bones and durability, he's so thick to where you can't just cut through his bone. Like even if you got a metal sword,
Like, he was even complimented saying he has a fantastic neck.
He's been hit by a truck, engraved a car like this. Like, you can literally shoot him in the gut. The bullets can't even penetrate his skin that much. It shows that he does bleed, but it doesn't seem to be nothing serious. This shows his durability. These bullets didn't get nowhere because he's holding them. They could not penetrate his abs. You know, mechanisms like this, power loaders in this universe try to break his neck, and it just doesn't go as planned. It just starts spinning around.
The unmatched
because his
scaling.
body's too durable. Some of these creatures in this Baki universe look bigger than your ordinary creatures. Let's put that in mind too. Like, he just messes up the Siberian tiger. Let's really talk about his muscle and strength. When you're strong enough to carry huge men while climbing a building, he makes these kind of things look easy. This is way harder than you think.
He destroys arms with his vice grip.
Yeah, creatures in the Baki universe are abnormally large. It's almost like there's prehistoric creatures that exist in modern times. Like this huge crocodile that can do this to freaking boats this large. Like, yeah. But guess how strong Pickle is? You guessed it. Pickle hunted it. After messing it up, he just proceeds to dragging it, despite its massive size. So it lets you know Pickle is taller than ordinary men, but he's actually stronger than what he looks, because he beats creatures bigger than him all the time. But this creature was food for Pickle.
I mean, we see him choking out T-Rexes and stuff, so like, and lifting up those insanely large dinosaurs.
It was just a small dinosaur, which he's got plenty of experience fighting.
He can actually lift vehicles and trucks off the ground because of strength.
Pickle is strong enough to literally choke a T-Rex.
There you go.
Probably a more impressive feat, actually holding open the jaw of a T-Rex. What human do you know that can be like the hunter for a Triceratops? He can stop the charge of a Triceratops charging 5-ton beast. Even lifts one up by his horn. Look how massive this thing is.
I guess this could be strength or this could be speed on how hard he can throw bullets. He threw them with so much pressure. It was almost like he didn't even need a gun itself. He threw them of the speed of like how a gun would do it. Doing this to the stone walls and through this guy's shoulder. All this is kind of durability and stuff too. He endured the impact, endured the weight, endured the power, endured the weight of actual dinosaurs that actually have confirmed actual weights. Something that could be 70 or even up to 100 tons. I would think it's safe to say he can lift 80 tons minimum, up to 100.
I mentioned something similar in my initial Pickle video a few years back about the dinosaur weights, and there's like so many like dinosaur experts in the comments like saying various different things about the weights of them, which is kind of funny.
Tons or even possibly more. Who's to say this is his limit based on what we've seen? Heck, he could have did this in his base form. What would his higher form be? You know what I mean? It would even be even higher by default. So with all this raw strength, it's obvious he can hit hard, right? Is it really a shock that he can punch down stuff like this? He hit being so hard they break the wall behind him. Super duper reinforced doors. They're implying Yujiro's the only.
True. When Yujiro was taken out by the elephant or rhino tranquilizers, Tokugawa put him inside the same like locked room, and Yujiro just broke out a few chapters later, similar to what Pickle does in this arc. And I also believe they use the same tranquilizers on Pickle as well to take him out, which is kind of funny.
Only other one to ever do this. He's done that stuff I've already showed you with his bare hands. Don't you dare give him an actual bladed weapon or sword. He was able to cut deep into the earth. What Herculean strength, they say. Look how high he sends people in the air from the weight of his swings. Same with kicks, he can still launch you. Okay, you know how there's these arenas, right? Let's just say Pickle's right here. He can kick somebody to where they get launched way into the stands. Like, in this particular situation.
I mean, we see Jack uppercut Pickle to the same extent, which is probably more impressive considering Pickle's weight and size compared to someone like Baki.
The raw power of his kick. Let's just say the Hanma family's built different. You know, you got the strongest in the world. You got Jack, who's pretty strong. You got Baki, the main character. Pickle actually punched face off of one of these Baki family members. Well, not messed up his whole face, but he messed up his jaw pretty bad. Like, yeah, it was pretty bad. Do I really have to convince you, based on all the stuff I've shown you, that he can do this to brick walls? I mean, we've seen this guy get in a head-on collision with a vehicle and actually win the head-on collision. How hard do you think the hit would be if somebody that can lift hundreds of tons? Just think about that. He can put so much weight behind his hit. This is what he can dent. 30 centimeter thick wall of special aluminum. Ordinary person would have been killed in an instant. The strongest fighters in this universe, Baki and Yujiro. any feats comparing these two automatically makes Pickle look more impressive. So when you see Pickle pushing Baki backwards in a contest of strength type thing, that just kind of lets you know how strong Pickle would have to be. Strikes Baki, having him ram against the floor, multiple strikes from Baki, kick in the face. And these are technically beings that have no superpowers. Baki is one of those beings that have no superpowers, and he can do
Baki doesn't have superpowers? Okay.
crazy stuff, like make illusions. Yeah, I know the show can get a little wonky, but this technically should be a Baki feat because he made an illusion of different characters with his imagination or whatever. And like literally multiple blocks can feel it. They're looking like, hey, earthquake, whoa, it's here. Earthquake, like beings this far away are feeling it. All coming from this BS right here. And
coming from Baki's imagination version of Yujiro hitting him. I think I mentioned that feed in like 50 videos at this point. Still insanely wild.
Baki, the main character, when it comes to pure strength, when these two just had a full-blown slugfest, Pickle proved that he's up there with these top tiers in endurance and how hard he can hit, because this was a contest about nothing but strength, aka punching power and endurance, no technique really. The difference became apparent. Pickle actually, in raw strength, competed with Baki, the main character, and overcame him. This automatically makes Pickle a top tier, and consider what Baki...
Well, yes, we all agree that Pickle is stronger than Baki in raw strength, but he missed one important detail in that moment. Baki's beating him up, you know, not too good. It got to a point where, like, Pickle's freaking out. He's like, ah, shit, I ain't about this. Getting destroyed. Flying everywhere. Pickle's just, you know, not having a good time. Baki's like, okay, let's go raw strength versus raw strength. As the dude showed, the result of physical strength difference was made clear right away. Pickle is, you know, overwhelming in power. And then Pickle does this. You may not be able to kind of tell what it is, but we get confirmed by everyone here, Tokigawa, Retsu, Hanayama. Pickle used a technique. It was meant to be a fight of raw strength, but Pickle, in a sense, cheated to get the win, used a technique, and, you know, won. And this is kinda what Yujiro and Oliver argue about in the later scene, where Yujiro's like, oh yeah, Baki won, he demonstrated that he was stronger, even though Yujiro wasn't even there watching it. But yeah. Bro, can you comment on this? Comment on what? What's up, mate? If other fighters adopted Baki's mindset during the Musashi fight, could they catch up to him? Probably not. A key thing to remember is that the Hanma, specifically Baki, potential-wise is a lot higher than a lot of these other characters. He is someone who can just grow stronger in like quick instances due to his imagination training, something other characters can't really do. Particularly when considering his age, when characters like Dopper, as an example, is like very old. He gets stronger, but to minor degrees throughout the story, while Baki has insane evolutions within specific arcs. Needed to point that out for the technique aspect.
He can do with his punches, making earthquakes in multiple city blocks. That kind of just means by default Pickle being up there with the top tiers proves he can hit with enough force to easily shake this entire auditorium.
Yeah, Pickle, without a doubt, scales above the Yujiro earthquake feat, as that was against 13-year-old Baki. Yujiro gets stronger every day as confirmed in the series. Various other scaling to prove that as well, including the Yujiro and Pickle exchange at the start of the arc.
Or just like how Baki can do it with his illusions or whatever, technically Baki can do this too. By default, since Baki's kind of close to his dad, even though Yujiro probably still got the advantage, obviously, Pickle by default should easily be able to shake multiple city blocks or multiple blocks of buildings by causing an earthquake with his punches because he's
Yeah.
top tier, just like
I
the
agree.
rest. And if you think this earthquake stuff shouldn't count, well, this isn't the first time these characters in this universe or fighters can produce earthquake type energy. Like Yujiro in the past stopped something that was like apparently a magnitude 6 or 7 earthquake. Everybody even says impossible. He stopped an earthquake with fists. This earthquake stuff isn't nothing new. Baki currently, or in later sagas, can kind of hang with his dad a lot better than these older days right here, of course. Like Baki stuff even talks about it.
Before I go over this, so
Here, of course.
13-year-old Baki, the Baki we see throughout the main series, is 17 in the first 2 series outside of the flashback, and then 18 until now. So this was way in the past compared to everything we've seen throughout Baki.
Like Baki stuff even talks about it or compare it to actual earthquakes that exist that have official magnitudes. So you can even do an easy Google search. It was a magnitude 7 earthquake, 6, 7, around that range. Pickle didn't necessarily fight Yujiro in a full-blown battle. I'm just trying to show you that when it comes to, the top tiers, Baki, Yujiro, earthquake type stuff, it's kind of like normal stuff. It's kind of like one of those things like, the Baki top tiers, all of them pretty much can punch down buildings or punch them apart, collapse them with their hits. I mean, that's just common. And the crazy thing about Pickle is that I don't want to compare him too much to Yujiro, but we have seen Pickle in a contest of strength actually clash with base Yujiro at least in his base form without Demon Bag. I guess this can kind of get us an idea of how he stacks up with the top tiers. He couldn't just easily just get overpowered. He can hang with the top tiers. Pickle can. If this earthquake...
Yeah, without a doubt, Pickle raw strength could still be the number 1 or, top 3, without a doubt.
Stuff still sounds unbelievable to you. Remember, Yujiro's punches have been compared to some nuclear bombs. So, nuclear bombs can vary in power and how some can have 1 megaton of force, which is 1,000,000 tons. Some can have 50 megatons, the higher ones being 50 million tons. Millions of tons of force. Pickle striking with millions of tons of force makes some sense. I mean, he did kind of match the strength of Yujiro in his base, and they stated that Yujiro's hits, like they call him Ogre here, yep, they say Yujiro's hits hit with force of nuclear impacts. So when you think of these kind of statements...
Funny enough, we got I've showed this in videos before, but we have 8 or 9 statements of Yujiro being above nukes. Got one here. Got another one. Another one here. I think that's the one you showed. Too much shit going on. This one, where they show missiles once again, and my personal favorite, which is this one, which low-key connects to the Hanma law as well. Pretty well.
And then you see the earthquakes, it kind of starts adding up. And then when you see Pickle do this, I should add that Yujiro did this in the past. Yujiro probably is stronger. Yujiro's always training. He stopped the earthquake back in the day. So, yeah. The way the manga artist drew it looks like a few city blocks is definitely shaking. And Yujiro can punch this hard. Yeah, and Pickle did this to Yujiro, the strongest creature in the world. Power.
Yep. Pickle's cracked.
Honestly, how do we know that the dinosaurs that Pickle defeated back in the day wasn't stronger than ordinary dinosaurs? For all we know, they could have been stronger than what we think of dinosaurs. It's not like we haven't seen creatures be abnormally large and strong in this universe. So, sure, that's a theory, but Pickle could be overpowering creatures that are actually stronger than dinosaurs that we know of. Or overpowering creatures that are stronger than your average creatures, So Pickle doing this is crazy.
What's up, Sad Summer?
Matter of fact, in Baki's opinion, the main character believes that Pickle and Yujiro will be an interesting fight, so it lets you know where he's meant to be in power levels.
What about his? The ogres. I bet they'd even use the same stance.
You guys probably remember the story, heard about the story about the meteor that took care of the dinosaurs. In this universe, that event apparently happened too. It's really vague on how Pickle did this, but this would make him literally stronger than everybody in the verse when it comes to feats, if this was to actually be taken literally. They talk about he took the explosion of the meteor from very close range and got preserved. Yeah, we didn't see this on screen, but...
There is other panels to really argue this. So... There's 3. We've got this one, which shows the meteor hitting the Earth and what it did. We've got this one confirming it, the size, and then the one he showed. Of course, not anything absolute, but a possibility. Just people argue about how close it was to him.
This would be an insanity type strength feat.
Not sure
but
what
one
you
of the
mean by
reasons
that.
why Pickle can hit hard is because
Like some
if he
verse
charges
battles?
at you with all this body mass, of course those hits will be hard, right? I mean, look at the size of him compared to average humans. So he's really large, but imagine this guy charging at you with speed. Like all this mass, speed is weight. If he's ramming into you, even called quick, like you know those hits are going to hit hard when you're moving like that. He's really fast. I mean, his eyes have to have crazy reflexes to even be able to keep up with the top tiers or the top fighters. He showed off his speed when these bullets couldn't touch him, blitzing beings faster than the eye can see. In speed, they're ridiculously fast, where they can disappear before the eyesight. They talk about it's almost impossible to catch like lightning. Pickle.
One of my favorite speed feats from Pickle is during the Jack fight. Jack was hitting him, and Pickle would bounce back to the same spot before he could even realize. So, this is Jack hitting him. It looks like Jack is missing, but what's really happening is Pickle is getting hit, he's flying back, and he's appearing in front before Jack can even realize again. So he's just like bouncing back and forth, like blitzing Jack with this, which is just like crazy.
Has to be up there when it comes to speed, when it comes to the fastest fighters, because lower tier fighters can still move their strikes or just hands fast enough to where they can do like literally moves called the mock punch, faster than the speed of sound type punch. These are the type of punches Yujiro can do. There's even characters that are top tiers that can dodge the lightning, like Yujiro himself. Matter of fact, beings that can do.
For the lightning statement, it's not like it didn't really happen in the story, it's just like a claim by a character that, oh, if Yujiro wanted to, he could. But it didn't actually happen. But probably could. You know, we all know.
The speed of sound punch. It's kind of implied that the speed of sound isn't their fastest punching speed or just speed in general in this universe. It's implied on statements like this that you can go faster than the speed of sound by over 70 times with these speed of sound punches.
Questionable panels considering the Wild Fang translations, and a lot of people argue this in pretty weird ways, but could be.
This can give you an idea of what Pickle has to compete against. Yeah, so he's way faster than the speed of sound when it comes to combat speed. I don't know about sprinting, but like combat speed for sure. This speed could be part of the reason why he can hit so hard, but what do you guys think? Do you think he can hit with millions of tons of force, or do you think he can hit with more force or less? There's beings that are constantly making earthquakes that are not even top tiers like him. Pickle's implied to be one of the top tiers when it comes to strength of this universe. This prehistoric human is too strong for his own good, but Pickle also believes you should hit that like button. It would really help out a lot, guys. Respect Pickle. And thanks for the donations, everybody. It would help.
Yep. Respect Pickle, boys. Leave a like on that. Love to see it. He unfortunately didn't talk about any of the recent stuff in regards to Jack vs. Pickle, the rematch. Maybe it's an anime only. He did talk about the Masashi stuffs, but yeah, Jack getting that glorious redemption.